Well, hello, you wonderful people, and welcome back finally to the Blacktown Premier League podcast. My name is Mark DePoli, and while you might have been feeling down, perhaps a little bit lost due to the weather, the podcast is back. We are so back. It's a pleasure to have you. I hope this podcast returning provides you with the solace you need, the opportunity to fill that football-shaped hole in your very soul. It's not about the return of the podcast, it's about what the return of the podcast represents. The last day of the Premier League campaign is soon to be upon us, and the Premiership will be decided in this weekend's match of the round. Are you excited? Me too. Let's have a look at what's happening in this week's episode.
100%. I think we could win no problem, really. I could say it easily. Really, I'm excited to get there on Saturday and absolutely smoking. So yeah, we'll go from there.
I have no doubt that he will win it again. He should win it. Not just being not just saying this as his coach, but he's such a good player.
After 6 odd weeks, the podcast is back. So what does that mean? Let's cue the intro music. Now, usually we use this time to go through a bunch of results and catch up on some drama over the weekend, but let's not do that because that would be approximately 260 odd games, if my math is correct, of men's and women's fixtures since we last had an episode. Let's not do that. Let's cut to the chase. Instead, before we chat to the two teams battling it out for the Premiership this weekend, we're going to have a look at what those tables look like, what could still happen, what could still go wrong, who could still find themselves playing more football into the rest of this month. No time to waste. Let's go straight into it. Despite having the chance to potentially win the league with their games in hand, it won't go that way after 2 draws from their most recent 2 games for the Quakers Hill Juniors girls. But take nothing away from the fact that they might not have the minor premiership. Not only can they still win the bigger grand final, you might say, but it's been an unbelievable season and such a great turnaround from what we saw from them in 2023. There is so much to be proud of. The progression of that team in the eyes of that club, they must be so proud. All that Kellyville need to do to lock up the Premiership this weekend against their Hills-based rivals Norwest is not lose 19-0. Strangely, I think they're capable of doing that. The top 4 is already secured. Holroyd still have 2 games in hand to pip Parklea to the 3rd place post. It's been another stellar season from Parklea. Change in the coaching staff, a little bit of a shift around, a lot of chopping and changing of fixtures in the last couple of weeks and months, and they've still been able to put themselves right up there, and we know what they can do in the finals. Congrats, guys. A little quick look further down the WPL table, and it's all up in the air. While these teams might not necessarily be competing for a final spot, a bit of pride is still on the line. Marion, for example, who was second last, could still finish in the spot outside of finals if they were to win by a significant number of goals this weekend and rely on other results going their way. Have a look. All up in the air. The maths is pretty cool once you deep it. What a Premier League 2 campaign it has been. Rooty Hill, Newbury, St Pat's and Parklea in that ascending order are out of finals contention. 4 out of the 8 teams. 4 out of the 8 teams, of course, in the final. We'll talk about them in a sec. Unless Parklea were to beat Polonia by 20 odd goals, they're not going to make the finals this year, unfortunately. But let's touch on the most important aspect of this league, of course. The Polonia boys have pushed for promotion. They looked like they were the best team in the competition as we started the year. Then they had a couple of injury issues that really looked to have derailed them, and there was one point where Glenwood actually pipped them into first place, jumped them, which was unbelievable. A couple of days later, though, they took back first place, and to be honest, they haven't looked back since. Their reserve grade has been just as good as well. No surprises whatsoever. Such a strong unit, and what they've built there is very commendable. It's about time Polonia returned to the top. They have a scarcely believable number of injuries heading into this weekend. I can't reveal the exact number, that'd be giving away too much, but it is pretty staggering. So they might not necessarily be in primed tip-top shape for the finals, but they've done what needs to be done in terms of the PL2 competition. They've secured promotion, and they've done it impressively well. So close yet so far for Glenwood, but so much to be proud of for a team that were outside of the finals last year, coming to 2nd place, even having first at one point, having a great run into the end of the season as well. 5 games on the trot unbeaten, 3 of those wins. Finals force, most certainly. Town Rangers, potentially the surprise package of the season. No one knew what they were going to bring when they had a couple of players come across from a club previously, and they brought in some players and they were all young, but they were young and they were fearless, and they've taken the competition in a lot of ways by storm. Watch out for them in years to come. When those guys fully develop their footballing ability, they'll be pretty hard to handle. Promotion push next year? You tell me. You never really know what to expect with Oakville except to expect the unexpected. We talked about them on the mid-season report card as a team that if they locked in defensively, they'd push for finals. Here they are. I have next to zero idea who could potentially be in the grand final for the PL2. What I do know is that we're going to have some cracker games to get us there, and the final itself is going to be special. Premier League One, let's talk about this heading into the match of the round that surrounds the PL1 this weekend, the only of the three competitions where realistically the league title is up for grabs. Before I give it to you in very, very simple terms, remember to like, remember to subscribe. We're on the way to 1.5k. When we started this channel, we were on about 250. 1.5k is an amazing number. Can we get there before the end of the season? I think we can. Anyway, let me put it to you really, really simply right now. If Doonside win the premiership. If Marion and Doonside play out a stalemate or a draw, Marion will win the title. If Marion win, well, Marion will win the title. Because of the fact that last night on Wednesday night, Doonside won by 1 goal against Tigers, although I've been told it should have been by many more, which could have made things more interesting. And Marion played out a 3-0 win against Workers. Again, could have been more. That one I was watching with my own 2 eyes. That means that the goal difference split has them very even. So there's, as you can see here on the table, which I'll now put up, there's a 2-goal difference, but if Doonside score, that will flip it to be even because Marion will go down 1. Of course, Doonside will go up by 1. So it quite literally means Doonside don't need to win by a certain margin, they just need to win. That's how it is, simply put. Let's move on because the rest of the podcast is about these two. Let's talk about the rest of the top 5 and the relegated team. The top 5 is secured and is the same as last year in a slightly different order. Well, it could potentially be if Workers pull their socks up on the last game of the season. If Workers beat Tigers this Sunday, they will pip Eastern Creek to 4th place and leapfrog them. Despite being in 3rd and having a game to go, Ponds have juniors in the last game of the season. If they win, they draw, they lose, no matter what, they're not going to move from that 3rd place spot. And as you know, or you may not know, the rejigged finals setup for this year means that 3rd place doesn't mean anything different to 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Let's actually mention juniors for a second. I want to look a bit down the table, but you don't have to look down too much further than what we had to at the halfway point of the season, because juniors have had a really strong end to the season. Unsurprisingly, because we said once they figured out how to play their football and stick in games that they would put points on the board, and they have. Props to them. Look down to the bottom, and unfortunately, after a vehemently disappointing campaign, Prospect have in fact been relegated. It was confirmed a couple of weeks ago while I was away. Commiserations to those boys and the club. I think it's time that I stop talking and we go and chat to the boys that make all the noise when it comes to kicking the football into the back of the net. Well, that's a pretty good lineup for you this week on the podcast, especially from the Doonside end. Let's go chat to those boys and see if they're going to win the premiership. Big thanks to these boys for coming down to Patterson Reserve a little bit early on their Wednesday nights. We have the reserve grade game of Tigers and Doonside behind us. My name is Mark DePoli, back after 6 weeks. I'm joined by Jaden Zoyer, the captain and 2-decade servant of Doonside, Ethan Eichen and Marcus Correa, top of the Golden Boot, by the way, the latter, are here to join us as well. And for the first time as well, and for the first time since your trip overseas as well. Jaden, the last time we spoke, and if I throw my memory a bit far back, I can think of a time where you were down in Ethan Eichen and you were down 3-0 at home to Ponds. A couple of weeks later, you were down 3-2 on the 18th of May to Marion, speak of the Devils. Since then, you've been undefeated. Most of those games have been wins. I want to know, was it a jig of the tactics? Was it a proverbial clip behind the ear? Was it just a re-evaluation of your motivations? What changed since the 18th of May that has made you so good since then?
I think honestly it's just a bit of consistency in our squad. We've had good numbers every week. Got players coming back. Obviously we've been missing Ethan up until now, but Marcus over here doing the job, scoring a lot of goals for us. And we got players like Maury Kanate, who a couple of years ago was in reserve grade at Workers and couldn't get a run there, and he's come over here and lit the world on fire. So it's just using the right people in the right places, and we're all set for the same task and we want to win. So yeah.
Brilliantly said. Marcus, welcome to the podcast once again. Now, you've shot yourself up to the top of the Golden Boot after a 7-goal haul against Prospect. Your debut campaign last year was fantastic. This one has really put you in the upper echelons of players. I just want to know your first season was great, but what's made this one so much better?
I just feel like I've basically been a bit more a part of the squad. Like I've worked a bit harder to get my skills a bit better, and yeah, just get in the right positions at the right time. Basically, like this year, obviously moving to striker while Ethan's been away has helped. Like he would have easily been top goal scorer if he was here. And yeah, we just create for each other, and yeah, nothing really. We're just scoring goals for fun.
I'm keen to see how that combination works when Ethan integrates himself back in. Ethan, welcome back from holiday, mate. What was your favourite part of the trip?
Oh, definitely Greece. The beaches and just everyone there, just really nice. The Euros was pretty good too.
Absolutely, I can agree with that. Look, you're working your way back into a squad that is peaking at the right time of the season. I guess it might be a bit awkward to think about, but have you thought about getting yourself back to any sort of full fitness, I guess you could say, and how you're going to sort of jump back into the first grade space?
Oh, definitely work on my fitness. Here's going to be a test today. But other than that, just honestly, just work on training with the boys, just like do my part. It doesn't matter if I come off the bench or if I start, it doesn't matter. I just want to do my part for the boys.
Team player, that's why everyone likes him, that's for sure. Jayden, I'll come back to you. We've not even mentioned it yet. The game this weekend, it is the most important match of the season so far this Saturday night, 6 p.m. from the home of the Hawks, of course. Doonside Marong to decide the minor premiership. It's been a long time since Doonside were the top of the Blacktown Premier League in terms of a minor premiership, which is, you know, for some people that's the more impressive trophy, being the best across 18 games. How much, you know, as a 2-decade servant of the club and someone who, you know, bleeds maroon, what does it mean, well, what could it mean for the Hawks Nation to bring home the minor premiership this year?
I think the minor premiership, obviously, it's one thing that's eluded this squad. I think that's what we all really want. We want to play champions of champions, obviously. It's a test for us, and it's good to play against the best teams in the state. So that's something that we all want. It's an equal goal for everyone. But the last 3 years now, we've been, I think, second with a chance to win the minor premiership on the last day. And this is the first time it's actually been in our hands playing the team above us. So we got the chance to do it. We've just got to go out there and do it, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Actually, come to think of it as well, champion of champions, your football kind of suits that quite well, and that could be great to see you guys back up in there too. Obviously, great history in the champion of champions of this club. It's the first time ever that 2 identical regular season games are the match of the round. So Juni Mariong once again. So there you go, there's another first. Ethan, you've obviously come off the back of an All-Stars campaign where Kev and Shia have been your coach. You scored in a friendly match against Prospects NPL side, you might remember as well. So they know what you're very much capable of, but also you know what they like to do when it comes to the tactics board. So are you excited for the challenge of facing someone that you've now technically worked under?
Yeah, it's good. I can't wait to get the game going. Like I was looking forward to seeing when the game got rained out and I was able to play in this game. It's a big game and I love to play big games, but yeah, just wait till the weekend.
Of course, I wasn't here for it, but I know that there was an old 21s grand final when you were a Simpata, where you were up against Kevy back in the day too. So there's plenty of great footballing history there. Marcus, you've actually missed the first edition against Mariong this year. You're away. Last year, Doonside lost and drew to them. Saturday in the minor premiership may or may not go your way, but even if whatever reason it is or whatever way it goes, are you confident that even in a grand final, perhaps, or a finals game, you could take them on as well?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think we could win no problem, really. Like, I could say it easily, really. Like, I'm excited to get there on Saturday and absolutely smoke them. So, yeah, we'll go from there.
That's brilliant. I love it. Jada, look, let's round this out. You've been here the longest and you know as good as anyone. This Mariong team have created a dynasty in the last sort of half to 3/4 of a decade. And you know there's a chance that they could clinch another 3-peat of minor premierships this weekend. They have to lose, I think, 39-0 in 21s to not be first place. So it's pretty much wrapped up in that one for sure. But if you guys can pip them, that means you have to be considered up there as one of the great teams as well, or at least bringing an end to things like that in terms of the minor premiership. So are you excited to have that opportunity?
Oh, 100%. I mean, Mariong, credit to them. They're a great squad. There's a reason they've been up there 2 years in a row with all 3 squads. So, you know, it's a chance for us, like you said, to become great ourselves. And people probably wrote us off at a point this year, but we've snuck up. I was talking to someone from Workers the other day, and they said it's crazy that on the last day we're still in with a chance. So, yeah, I think we've gone off the radar a little bit, but like I said, it's our chance to be great as well. So see how we go.
Dooney always seems to peak at the right time. You obviously know this comp better than anybody standing here right now. So where do you think a minor premiership victory would put you along with some of the teams that you've seen in your years growing up in the BDSFA?
I think it put us right up there. I think the comp these days is a lot stronger than what it used to be, and that's not taking anything away from the great Doonside team. They were a great team, but I think we can be up there and match them with our achievements as well. So, yeah.
Brilliant. Well said. Thanks everyone for jumping on tonight. Good luck tonight in your game here as well. Keep it interesting. I hope results mean that we do have a real standoff this Saturday, 6 p.m, and we'll see you there. Let's go talk to Mario. I can back Correa firing. It's going to be potentially one of the most fun and memorable games of the entire history of Blacktown Premier League men's or women's live streams. Of course, I spoke to the now club champions Marion after their game against Workers last night. You've probably seen the photos all over your social media feed. I spoke to their club president and their two coaches, of course, who were brave enough to stick around past 10:30 at night. So a couple of tired eyes, certainly, but it was a good chat nonetheless. Okay, it is a cold Wednesday night, but we are still committed to doing the podcast at something like 10:30. We are outside the gates of Labor Sporting Complex as Marion have sealed consecutive back-to-back club championships. Congratulations to you guys. Shia, congratulations on your engagement. Kevy, instant reaction to being club champions 2 times running.
Very happy. To do it with one game in hand is special as well, because there was a bit of mixed result with our Rezzies losing tonight, but we got the result we wanted and we ended up club champions. So pretty happy to do it back to back.
I'll throw it now to Nudge as club president. Must be a good thing to see. You know, obviously people want to do well in their Premier League. It's how they can sort of advertise themselves as a club. This must feel pretty good doing 2 in a row, but the whole time all we were thinking about is goal difference heading into this week. So tell us the rundown. It is in fact a draw or a win will seal everything, right?
Yeah, look, pretty much. Firstly, so proud of these boys. 2 years in a row. 3 times out of the last 6 years. And even though, like what Kev said, the Rezzies did not have the desired result tonight, congratulations to them. They still finished minor premiers. So the squad as a whole, and even, our 21s, sitting top of the table at the moment. So the squad as a whole, but yeah, look, next week's game is going to be a big one for that minor premiership, and entry into Champions of Champions. Goal difference is definitely going to come into it. So there's only 1 goal in it between us and Doonside. So look, I've got all the faith in the world in the boys of getting a result, whether it's a draw or a win. I'm pretty sure they're going to win, but yeah, I've got all the faith in the boys, and we're going to club champions and minor premiers. Shia, I'll throw to you. If you guys had have scored a 4th goal tonight, that means that Doonside would have had to have won 2-0. That could have been even more exciting because they would have had to go for it really hard to try and beat you by a 2-goal deficit. That's not the case. It's just the one. So it really is nip and tuck. Let's have a chat about going back to your old stomping ground and potentially stealing a minor premiership. Doonside haven't won one in a while. They've won championships, but not premierships in a while. It's been a little while. So are you excited to go back and have the chance to do it in another backyard that's not your own?
Yeah, look, we always look forward to going to Glendenning and play against Doonside boys. Look, credit to them for having a great season, which made our boys give that extra motivation to push them harder, because it's always good to have that second club chasing you, just behind you. And we've told the boys, look, we just got to concentrate on each game, every game until that final. And like you said, once we get there, we just got to do what we've been doing and stick to our own game plan. Regardless of who we're playing against, we've just got to make sure that we get the minor premiership done and have a week off. That week off certainly will come in handy to whoever finishes first, depending on how you look at it. With this busy schedule we've had of Wednesday, Saturday, Kev, I can't imagine it's been too easy on anyone, but particularly not too easy when you have, a squad of players around that sort of 28-year-old average age. So do you think that's a little bit of an advantage for Doonside heading into a couple of days from now, or is it not something that bothers you too much?
No, not really. First grade's a good mix of different ages. We've got 21-year-old up to 33, 34. But it's the older ones that are performing as well, so there's not really much to worry about. And they're all looking after themselves. They get physio and get treatment, so yeah, it's all right.
Perfect. Naj, I'll throw it to you. Back to the whole club sort of perspective.
speaking of 21s, sort of year-old players as well, I've mentioned to you that your 21s would have to lose by 32 goals this coming Saturday in order to not finish in first place and secure back-to-back minor premierships again. So it's very likely as well that the first and reserve and 21s will end up as premiers. How does that feel as the president of the club that you've achieved that 2 times in a row, potentially?
Yeah, look, it's amazing, and to be honest, it all starts with these two here and Robbie. So the squad that they've built between the three of them is definitely one, to admire. Like the boys are loyal to these guys. They listen to them. When it comes to coaching, in all honesty, I reckon we've got the best 3 coaches in the Blacktown League, and it's credit to those 3 boys that we are where we are. But from a club's point of view, we can't be any prouder of these boys. And what Robbie's done with those 21s, to know that that's what's coming up through our club and that's what's going to replace some of the older players once they move on. Mate, we're in a good place, so couldn't be any happier from a club side of things.
Just a quick word, Shia, on last week's match of the round, which was meant to be the last game of the season. It hasn't panned out that way due to Mother Nature, but that game was crazy. He took the lead early. Taylor Hunt has a big miss, and then on his 300th game, he has an incredible goal to his name. Rivaldo puts in a great cross for Mubi. He misses in the 88th minute, I think. It ends 1-1. Pretty entertaining game against Ponds, as usual.
Yeah, it was a good hit out. It's always a good hit out against these boys. I personally think that it was actually a bit of a fair game. Ponds actually had a really good game, and our boys, we were dominating a little bit, and our intensity dropped, and then it was end to end. Honestly, it could have gone either way, but we got a point away from it, which ended up helping us. And you never know. Sometimes you can win premiership when it comes to 1 point or 1 goal difference. So it all depends on next week. So we'll see how it goes for us.
Now, Kev, heading into this weekend, obviously the pressure is on for both teams, which makes it ultra entertaining for the neutral, and it is a 6 p.m. kickoff, which means everyone can tune in and watch or come and watch live in person. Since the 3-2 against Doonside many moons ago on the 18th of May, they have been undefeated, mostly with wins since that point. Now, I had this discussion with them on the prior segment to this, but now I get to ask you guys as well. You kind of invigorated something into them when you beat them 3-2 that day at Harvey, so are you aware that Doonside's probably peaking at the right time of the season, and does that make this an even more fun task for you to unpack as a coach?
Yeah, I think since we beat them, I have looked at the table and they've been on a good roll. But in saying that, in the next couple of weeks, there's a few teams that have to lose, and we're not going to play for a draw or for a tight game. We want to win the game. Just like Glenn will get his boys to try and win. It's just going to be a top of the table clash and should be an entertaining game.
They welcome back Ethan Eichen as well this week, back from holiday, which is great for the competition. The fact that they've been so good without him is pretty scary. We'll see what sort of his fitness level is like. You've got some history with Ethan Eichen. You've coached him as an all-star coach. You've played against him in grand finals when he was a St. Patter, for example. I spoke to him about that prior to this as well. One to watch out for as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he's dangerous. He's got it all as a wing striker, but when he's on, and we just got to make sure that he's not on for us to get the 3 points. But the whole team, not just him, they all play a good brand of football and physical game.
Perfectly well said. Last one, and this is a bit of a feeble one, if you like. You've got a player that could potentially go back-to-back in the Player of the Year competition. Now, you haven't got anyone to worry about when it comes to golden boot, so you're not going to be trying to win penalties, for example, something ridiculous like that. You're not going to be passing square balls and pressing on for goals, but you've got a chance to potentially put a player back-to-back as Player of the Year. So, Shia, how do you try and make Kelvin have a 3-point haul?
To be honest, he's just got to play his own game like he has been throughout the year. He's due to Merv's injuries and being away, he's been stepping out. He's the vice captain, but he's been captaining the boys for the last 2 months or so, and he's been doing an exceptional job. And just to have him in the pitch, he automatically motivates the boys. He's such a great leader, and his energy, the passion that he shows in the midfield, like is easily one of the best midfielders in the competition, and his results and talent shows that every week. But you know, like I said before, it's that personality that the leadership that he shows on the field that helps the boys out. So hopefully, I have no doubt that he will win it again. He should win it, not just saying this as his coach, but he's such a good player. So.
Well, there was a match around a couple of years ago when he knocked in a free kick very late on. Kelvin, who is right up there in the votes. I can't reveal exactly where he is, but he's in fact right up there. And he could seal it with a good performance. Boys, I know it's very late. Please be on your bikes. But thanks very much for joining us on the podcast. I do appreciate it, and see you Saturday.
For those who work trades, certainly tired, some of those boys, and I'm sure they'll be fine come Saturday. They are itching to clinch the title on enemy territory. It's simple. I'll remind you again. Doonside win. Doonside will win. If it's a draw, Marion will win. And of course, if Marion win, well, Marion will win. I will see you either in person, and make sure you come up and say hi, or live from the live stream at 6 p.m. I'll be back for the match of, potentially, the season. Who's going to win the premiership? Leave me a comment down below. I want to know your thoughts and your opinions. If you liked this video, if you liked the interview, if you liked the responses, if you liked my haircut, leave a like, please. Subscribe if you haven't already. That is in fact going to do it for this week's episode of Blacktown Premier League Podcast. We are so back. The competition is at its rearing best. I cannot wait to see what happens this Saturday. I am literally counting down the hours and the minutes at this point. It is going to be so exciting. I'm so excited to be back. I hope you're keen. Thanks to everyone who featured late on in this podcast on that midweek. I appreciate all the effort you guys have been putting in to make sure that this happens week in, week out, at least when I'm in this side of the hemisphere. Like, subscribe, see you 6 p.m. Saturday. Be there a couple minutes early if you want to hear me ramble on a little bit. But otherwise, cue the outro music.